So Shane, if you would, you've given us a couple of really, really good foundational principles when it comes to adaptive leadership. We have a couple to talk about. So I'd like to throw it over to you and tell us, what's the next thing we need to be looking at when you talked about those foundational principles of adaptive leadership?
Yeah, so we talked about an adaptive leader as a foundation, needing to have positive intent, needing to be humble and vulnerable, needing to have trust, and needing to have a willingness to learn. There are two others that kind of round out that foundation. The first of which is service leadership.
Mhm.
Now, service leadership might be kind of an interesting term that some people may or may not be familiar with.
Can I stop you quickly, Shane? You said service leadership, but I think a
Yeah.
lot of people are used to servant leadership. So is there a difference between the two from your perspective?
For me, there is. In fact, I'm purposeful. I use service leadership. I think that resonates better with leaders. And I'll explain what I mean by that. It's best told in a story.
Mhm.
So I had a leader once tell me that as a leader, you have one job and you only have one job. And that one job is to remove obstacles from the path of your team. That's
Mhm.
your only responsibility. And I think that's service leadership in a nutshell. I think servant leadership is also very important. It might have a different flavor and taste to it, and that's perfectly fine. For adaptive leadership, I think one of those foundations is definitely service leadership, where a leader has to be able to remove obstacles from the path of their team.
Okay. And so the one of the burning questions I get when it comes to leaders removing obstacles is, well, it's not a question, it's a mindset I think that people have is if I just put myself in the position to remove obstacles for people, then I'm not growing and I'm not developing myself. And I need to be in there. I need to be able to do the work. And so, leaders have this whole concept of sort of when I'm a leader and when I'm a manager, and talk a little bit about, when you're removing obstacles, it's not that you're removing obstacles and you're becoming less competent. You're removing obstacles because.
Well, and that's a very good point you make. And I mean, to put it bluntly, it's not about you as the leader.
Okay.
Service leadership is exactly that. It's not about you, it's about the team. It's about the team and the focus of the team, the objectives of the team, the outcome the team is working on. It is about the team. And by nature of the team being successful and growing and developing, the leader will too. You can't have one with the other. But when the leader puts themselves first, not only is that not service leadership, but it also comes into conflict with what the team needs.
And I like that. It's not about you,
That's
right?
exactly right. It is not about you.
And
And I
what.
think that takes us to our sixth thing, right? And our sixth thing, this one coats all the others: resilience.
Hmm.
An adaptive leader has to be resilient. They have to have that tough skin. They have to wake up every single day and say, yesterday was what it was, and now today I have to go out and do something different. I have to have learned. I have to get out there. I have to get back on track. I have to be resilient.
And I totally agree. When you think about resilience, a lot of people don't understand what you said in the very beginning. Resilience is what helps you thrive in a VUCA environment as opposed to merely just survive. And you have
That's
to learn
right.
how to thrive, and that's what resilience is all about. People aren't as resilient as they should be, Shane, in your estimation, because what? Why are people not as resilient as they should be?
I think what happens is all the other things we've already talked about comes into conflict, right? So we started talking about positive intent. When that's not there, it impacts the resilience. We talked about humility and vulnerability. When that's not there, it impacts resilience. We talked about trust. When trust is missing, resilience is impacted. Willingness to learn, service leadership. When those things are not there, you're not going to have a resilient leader. So I think resilience is actually what naturally happens when all those other things come together. And when they're missing, you have a non-resilient leader.